On time for our library segment, and Miss Valerie joins us from the Artesia Public Library. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Happy Friday to you.
It is Friday. We made it through another week.
I know it's been so crazy the last couple of weeks, but here we are, ready to go. So, how's everyone doing at the library today?
We are doing great at the library, having lots of little ones and their moms and dads and grandparents coming in. So kind of wanted to talk about those programs a little bit.
Okay. Where would you like to begin?
Sure. Well, we'll start on, Tuesdays. We have a preschool story time. It's every Tuesday at 10 a.m. It's for the little ones, ages 3 to 5, and there's lots of stories and STEM learning, crafts, and social play, of course. We've had some really great numbers, and our children's librarian, Mrs. Neiman, is excited and gets the little ones excited, so lots of fun.
That's great. That's on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock, right?
Tuesdays at 10, and then Wednesdays at 10, Mrs. Neiman has a Mother Goose story hour for ages birth through 3, and there's lots of rhyming and puppets and baby games, I guess you could say. There's a word for it, can't think of it right now. But lots of interactive items to help with their development, their brain development, their language development.
Okay. Wednesdays at 10 for that program.
Wednesdays at 10, yes. Thursdays is a little more free play for the ages 1 to 3. It's called Toddler Move and Play because we all know toddlers like to move. And that's 11 o'clock on Thursdays. And like I said, ages 1 through 3, and there's lots of music and dancing and singing and playing, and we have a lot of interactive toys for that age group as well.
That's fantastic. Thursdays at 11.
Yep, and then Thursdays at 4 p.m. we have a new STEAM after-school program. I know yesterday they got out the 3D printer, and we're doing some snap circuitry. We have the STEM lab, I'm sure that most of the community knows about, that we received from the Cal Ripken Foundation and some other great sponsors here in our community. And we're putting all of those STEM activities and kits to use. And the kids are learning basic circuitry and even how to 3D print.
That's pretty exciting. How big an item are they able to print right now in the 3D printer?
Well, I know Mrs. Neiman earlier this week, one of her story times had to do with apples, and she 3D printed an apple, and it was a pretty good size. I would say a good 3.5 inches, probably tall. And, it took a little bit of time. I think that took over an hour to print, but it was really cool, really shiny, really beautiful little perfect apple.
That is great. Well, the reason I ask is that we have this older car, and a screw came out of what holds the visor. And so there's one screw missing, and I thought, well, maybe I could bring one of the screws that we have, and you could 3D print another screw.
Well, we would have to find a design.
Okay. Well, maybe that could be a project for the kiddos,
Yeah, we would have to find a design, and then we would, or we could create the design. We haven't advanced that far yet, but that is the goal, to where we can get some of these kids, thinking about engineering and even art and designing items and then printing them.
Yeah. Well, there's a YouTuber that I watch that has an old Ford Maverick car, and he wanted to see if he could run the car with a lawnmower carburetor. and he needed to get a piece so that the carburetor could connect to the piece on one end and then to the intake on the engine on the other. I mean, you can't just call up the auto parts store and say, hey, I need a lawnmower carburetor to intake on a Ford Maverick. So he was an engineer, he designed one and printed one on a 3D printer that works perfectly. And I keep thinking we're going to be heading to the time where a lot of the parts that we might need for older, whether it's a car or sewing machine or radio, like I've got some old radios here that are missing knobs. Wouldn't it be great if we could 3D print a knob to replace a knob on an older piece of equipment? So it's great that the kids are learning at this point. Who knows? They might get interested in that technology, and that may be a field that they go into.
Definitely. And speaking of sewing machines, I have a sewing machine that's, it's a more modern one. It's made out of plastic, but I do have a broken plastic piece.
There you go. There's a project for the kids.
Right. So I did want to mention this after-school STEAM program, Thursdays, 4 p.m., and that is for grades kindergarten up through 6th grade.
Kindergarten through 6th grade, Thursdays at 4 o'clock. So come on by and get interested in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Yeah.
So now that we talked about the kids' activities, I kind of wanted to talk about adult programs.
Okay.
We did start a Dungeons and Dragons game, and that's on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. I believe it goes 2 to 5. And we have a couple of guys running that.
Okay.
So the 80s are coming back. I'm just letting you know. Hopefully not the hair. Some of the clothes were cute, but...
What was it for the ladies' fashions? Was it the shoulder things in the shoulder pads or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, there were lots of crazy things. But yeah that was one of them.
Or the haircuts on the flock of seagulls.
Yes.
So Dungeons and Dragons. When did they meet or have their story, do their role playing?
Tuesdays at 2 p.m.
Tuesdays at 2. Okay, very good.
And then we still have our Yarn United. That's every second and fourth Wednesday at noon, and you can come and visit with some ladies and knit and crochet and just kind of relax. Bring a little lunch or drink, and you're good to go.
Okay.
And then we have our 2 book clubs. We have our noon book club. It's the third Monday of every month. And we do have a list of books on our website and our Facebook page if you want to see what those books are. And then we have a Kitschlit book club, and that's a food-related book club. There will always be a book related to food or cooking or chefs or something. And that's the last Thursday of the month.
Okay.
And then we have...
and I'm going to ask a really silly question. You mentioned the noon book discussion on the third Monday. What time does the noon book discussion meet?
That's a good one.
I bet it's noon.
I'll bet you. Yep.
So, okay.
And then the Kitschlit meets at 1:30.
1:30. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then we do have another role-playing game. It's that magic card play that's still going on every second and fourth Friday of the month at 3 p.m.
Second and fourth Friday at what time?
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Okay. I have a sheet here when I do my lunch menus every day, and I like to include what's happening at the library, and so I'm making notes on my sheet here so that I can be somewhat informed.
Yeah, and then there's just 2 other fun events coming up that I wanted to slip in here. The Red Dirt Black Gold is going on next Saturday, and the library will have a kids zone in the Heritage Walkway from 5 to 7 p.m., and we will have games and prizes and snacks.
Okay. That'll be on, that's Saturday the 1st, I think.
Yes.
And that'll be in the, did you say in the Heritage Plaza?
The Heritage Walkway, yes.
Heritage Walkway, okay. Excellent. Yeah. And what time are you doing that?
5 to 7 p.m.
5 to 7 p. Okay. Kids Zone. So what is the intent? Parents drop off kids or parents with kids? What are you hoping to help out with on that day?
Oh, no, it would be no drop-off. You'd have to be with your kid.
Well, I want to make that clear, because sometimes they'll hear, oh, Kids Zone, we can just drop them off over there.
No. It's just an area that, I know we've done this before, where it's just an area for the kids to come and play some games and win some prizes and just to give them something to do down
Excellent.
there. While the parents are shopping or eating or taking the kids to listen to the music. So.
Yeah, excellent. I can't believe that's next weekend already, but it is.
It is, absolutely.
I keep looking at my schedule and say, am I going to have a weekend off? And then I go, no.
And then the last Saturday of October, we will be having our big Halloween fun event on the 29th. And that will be right before the Main Street trick-or-treat.
Okay. And you guys always put on a big event. Was last year the first year that you got to be here for that, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, my first Halloween fun event here at the library, yes.
Yeah. So what's planned for this year?
This year we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have a haunted laboratory.
All right.
And we'll still have our big popcorn and candy bar, which is always a big hit. We'll have a Halloween craft for the little ones, some coloring sheets for the little ones, and then we will have a couple of games as well.
Okay, that's on the 29th.
On the 29th, 4 to 6 p.m. And, of course, we want everybody to come in costume, of course.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Everybody ought to show up as, was it Jerry Lewis? Was he the Nutty Professor?
I think there's been a couple of Nutty Professors, but, yeah, I think he was probably the original.
The original. So maybe everybody shows up dressed as Jerry Lewis as the Nutty Professor for the haunted lab.
That would be good. That would be good.
One of his characters was Myron Noodleman, and I didn't know that until we went to a Albuquerque Isotopes baseball game, and I was looking to see if they had any special guests or events or performers or whatever, and it said Myron Noodleman, and I thought, great, that's just lovely. I get the worst. But he was one of the funniest people, and he basically was as a Jerry Lewis character, and he was pretty funny. So, but yeah, that would be interesting if you had a room full of Myron Noodlemans.
Mad scientists, zombies.
Oh, Doc Brown from Back to the Future. You could have a bunch of Doc Browns. That'd be cool.
Frankensteins would be good.
So, of course. So that's good. So get ready for that. Did you get your sponsor for Halloween, or are you still looking for a sponsor for that?
We have a wonderful lady that is helping us in the community. Her name is Katie Hurst, and she's been a great help with helping us plan this. Don't know if you know her.
I may have met her. I just, off the top of my head, it's not kicking in, but that's okay. I forget things.
And then, of course, we have our wonderful friends of the library that always assist with all of our events and some of our programs, and want to give a shout out to them because they are wonderful as well.
Excellent. Well, does that cover all the events you wanted to share today, or did we leave anything out?
No, I think that's great. And then we'll talk about it all again next week.
Yeah. Well, of course, we'll be getting closer to the Red Dirt Black Gold, so that's going to be a lot of fun to get everybody up to date on all the events happening with that. So,
yes, definitely.
Well, good. Well, Valerie, thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. And you have a wonderful weekend this weekend.
All right, you too, Gene.
All right, thanks a lot. We're
Bye.
Bye-bye.